Hi there, welcome back to my channel once again. Today we'll be looking at, the topic on free will and determinism. Free will and determinism. Okay? Have you ever wondered if we are truly free? How free are we? How truly free are we? I know in our last discussion, I mentioned where God has created us as human beings with free will, where we are responsible for our actions. We can take decisions, that affect us, that has to do with us as humans. All right. So, but have you ever wondered to what degree do we have that freedom? The freedom to choose, the freedom to act without any external factors, external things interfering with our decisions. Okay, so today we'll be delving basically into two schools of thought, which is free will and the other one which is determinism. Okay, so the school of thought on free will says that as humans, we are at liberty to choose whatsoever we want. We can do anyhow we like, and we'll be held responsible for that action. We'll be held responsible for that particular action that we exhibit at a particular time. It means that no one is dictating for us what we should do, how we should act or behave at that particular time. All right, so that is what the school of thought is basically standing on. The fact that, we can act without any obstruction or without any predestination to all our behaviors, all our attitudes and, actions. There are no there's nothing that is specifying what we should do. We are the architect, we are the actor, the master, builder of our actions, of our plans, of our decisions. So that's what the school of thought on free will is standing on. But then on the other end, there is the school of thought which is determinism. And determinism is a perspective that looked at the fact that human decisions are predestined. In other words, our actions to some extent are determined by some factors which are external, beyond our control. For instance, our childhood, our upbringing, our conditioning, the environment in which we grew up from. So these things, the determinists are saying, contribute to some great degree to the way we act and behave. There's also, like a middle ground to this, which is compatibilism. All right. So I'm just speaking philosophically now, right? So there is a school of thought called compatibilism, which is standing on the fact that both free will and determinism act, hand on hand. That we are free to some extent, and at the same time, there are some of our actions that we can't control, which is they are determined. All right, so that's the school of thought on that, which is compatibilism. Now, if you remember in our last discussion, I said that God has created us as human beings, so giving us the free will to choose, to act out our actions without Him coming to interfere with our actions or decisions. All right, so if we are truly free, how do we explain some actions that are beyond our control? Some things that are beyond our control. Look at it in this manner now. The world is created and God has put man in place to take charge of everything. But how many things do you think that man has control over? How many things? There are some natural things, there are things of nature that man has no control over. So it begs the question, how free are we? How free, how truly free is human? Okay? Because if God has created man to choose to act, to, has given every resources that is in the world, that is in nature to man, and man can do whatever he wants with it. But there are still elements that human or man cannot control. For instance, natural disasters, the tornadoes, the typhoons, the floods. These are things that man can't control. All right, then it begs the question again. If God is interfering in the freedom of man, does that not undermine, the free will that he has given to man? So these are some of the questions that we look at. This helps us to learn to think, to learn to critically look at things, not just saying things based on our emotions and all that. So if God is interfering in the affairs of man, does that not undermine the free will or freedom of man? Now, on the other hand, let's look at it this way. I mentioned earlier that the school of thought on determinism says that to a great extent, most of our actions, most of our decisions that we take, our behaviors are dependent on external forces such as our childhood, our upbringing, the family you came out from, the environment you were bred, and all that contribute to a great degree on how we behave. What do you think about that? And when you look at it critically, you know that, yeah, this is true. Some of us, the way we behave, the way we act, is a function of the way we were raised. Some of us, our faith, our religious faith, is based on the background, the upbringing that we have. The other day I was asking myself, I said, would I even be a Christian if I was not brought up in a Christian family? If you ask yourself that question, most of us are in the faith that we are in, the religion that we are observing because of the background that we came out from. So you can see that to a certain degree, external forces like this contribute to a greater extent on how we behave. But I still stand with the fact that whether external forces, are liable to our actions and inactions or whatever, man is responsible for any action it takes. Because if we are to blame every action we take on the fact that it's the way you were brought up, is my genetic, is the environment, then you shouldn't be blamed, really, for taking such actions. If you are blaming it on your genetics, if you are blaming your character trait on your genetics, then you shouldn't be blamed. That means you are trying to exonerate yourself from every responsibility. But I feel that man should be responsible for every action he takes. He should be responsible because he actually thought it through. He was not under duress before taking any action he did. So I believe that to a certain degree, we act based on how we want to behave. And to some degree too, there are some, forces that guide our principles in life. Our philosophy of life might be based on the way we were brought up, the kind of family we were raised in, and all that. But I want to know what you think about this topic. Are we truly free? Are there forces that are more responsible for every action that we take than the actions that we consciously take? I want to know what you think about this. Drop your comment in the comment section. I want to hear your opinion. I want to hear your thoughts about this. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.